The rift, the sky tore open on a Tuesday. It happened without warning, without sound, just a sudden shimmer above the clouds like reality itself had cracked. From Tokyo to Toronto, from Cairo to Cape Town, every human being who looked up saw the same impossible thing. A wound in the heavens, bleeding soft blue light. Scientists scrambled. Governments convened emergency sessions. Religious leaders fell to their knees. Social media exploded with theories, prayers, and panic. But the rift simply hung there, patient and enormous, stretching across the upper atmosphere like a cosmic scar that refused to close. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood in the observation deck of the hastily assembled International Portal Research Station, her reflection ghostly against the reinforced glass. Outside, the rift pulsed with gentle luminescence, its edges rippling like water disturbed by an unseen hand. She'd been studying quantum anomalies for 15 years. Nothing in her education, her research, her wildest hypotheses had prepared her for this. "It's stable," said Commander James Park, approaching from behind. His military uniform was crisp despite the chaos of the past 72 hours. "Whatever it is, it's not expanding. Not collapsing either." Elena turned to face him. Park's expression was carefully neutral, but she could see the tension in his jaw, the way his fingers drummed against his tablet. Everyone was afraid. The difference was whether you admitted it or not. "Stable doesn't mean safe," Elena replied. "We're detecting energy readings that shouldn't exist, wavelengths that don't fit any known spectrum. Whatever's on the other side." She trailed off, gesturing toward the rift. "It's not from here." "Nothing's from here except us," Park said quietly. "Until 72 hours ago, we thought we were alone." The weight of that statement settled between them. Humanity had spent centuries searching the stars for signs of life, sending probes into the void, listening for signals that never came. And then the universe had simply opened a door and waited to see if anyone would be brave enough to walk through. The United Nations had moved with unprecedented speed. Within 48 hours, they'd assembled a team. Scientists, linguists, medical personnel, and military escorts. Not an invasion force, not yet. Just 12 people who would represent Earth to whatever lay beyond that shimmering threshold. Elena was one of them. Now, gathered in the briefing room, those 12 faces stared at holographic projections of the rift from every conceivable angle. Dr. Yuki Chen, the team's quantum physicist, manipulated the images with practiced gestures, highlighting areas where the anomaly's energy signature spiked and dipped. "We've sent 17 drones through," Yuki explained, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was describing. 13 came back. "The footage is extraordinary." The room darkened as the projection changed. Suddenly, they were watching drone footage from beyond the rift. The camera pushed through that membrane of light. There was a moment of distortion like passing through water. And then, Elena's breath caught. On the other side was a world that defied description. The sky wasn't blue, but a deep luminous purple, threaded with what looked like rivers of light flowing through the atmosphere itself. Massive crystalline structures rose from rolling hills of silver grass that moved in waves despite no visible wind. In the distance, floating islands drifted across the horizon, tethered to nothing, defying gravity with casual impossibility. But it was the beings that made Elena's heart race. They appeared as silhouettes at first, tall, graceful figures that seemed to be made of the same light that flowed through their sky. As the drone moved closer, details emerged. They were humanoid but elongated, their skin translucent and faintly glowing, revealing what might have been constellations beneath their surface. No faces in the human sense, but where faces should be, there were patterns of light that shifted and changed like living expressions. One of them turned toward the drone, extended something that might have been a hand, and the footage ended abruptly. "That was drone 14, Yuki said, bringing the lights back up. "It stopped transmitting the moment that being reached toward it. But here's what's important." She pulled up another display, this one showing complex mathematical equations and energy patterns. Before it went dark, the drone detected something. A signal, not random, not natural. It was structured, deliberate. "Language?" asked Dr. Amara Okonkwo, the team's chief linguist, leaning forward with sudden intensity. "Maybe. Or mathematics. Or music, we don't know yet." Yuki's expression was grave. "But whatever they are, they're trying to communicate. They've been trying since the moment the rift opened." Commander Park stood, his presence commanding immediate attention. which means they might have opened it deliberately. This could be first contact, or it could be reconnaissance before an invasion. We need to know which. Or it could be an invitation, Elena said quietly. All eyes turned to her. They've had 72 hours to come through to our side. They haven't. Instead, they're waiting, watching, maybe hoping. The silence that followed was heavy with the weight of decision. Humanity stood at a threshold it had dreamed of for generations. But dreams, Elena thought, were always easier than reality. Reality required courage, required stepping forward into the unknown with no guarantee of return. We leave in 6 hours, Park said finally. Get your affairs in order. Say your goodbyes. Because once we step through that rift, we won't be representing just ourselves anymore. We'll be representing everyone who ever looked up at the stars and wondered what was looking back. Crossing the threshold, the shuttle rose through Earth's atmosphere like a prayer made of metal and fire. Elena watched through the viewport as the planet fell away beneath them, blue and green and achingly familiar. Somewhere down there, her sister was watching the launch on television, probably crying. Her niece had asked if Aunt Elena was going to meet aliens. Elena had smiled and said maybe, keeping her voice light even as her stomach twisted with uncertainty. Maybe we'll meet them. Maybe they'll kill us. Maybe we'll never come back. The unspoken possibilities hung between every goodbye, every forced smile, every brave word. Beside her, Dr. Marcus Webb, the team's physician and biologist, gripped his harness with white knuckles. I've jumped out of planes, he muttered. I've climbed mountains. I've performed surgery in war zones. But this, he gestured toward the viewport where the rift was growing larger, closer, more impossibly real. This is different. Because there's no precedent, Elena said. No manual. No one who's done this before and lived to write a memoir. Marcus laughed, sharp and nervous. You really know how to comfort a guy, Vasquez. The shuttle's interior was cramped but efficiently designed. 12 crew members in specialized suits that could adapt to unknown atmospheres. Equipment packed into every available space. Sensors, communication devices, defensive weapons that everyone hoped would remain unused. Commander Park sat at the front reviewing data streams on his tablet with mechanical precision, as if treating this like any other mission would make it so. But it wasn't any other mission. It was the mission, the one that would define humanity's future or end it. Approaching threshold in 90 seconds, announced Lieutenant Sarah Morrison from the pilot's seat. Her voice was calm, professional, trained to stay steady even when crossing into the impossible. The rift filled the viewport now, its edges rippling with that same gentle luminescence Elena had observed from the station. Up close it was even more beautiful, even more terrifying, like staring into the eye of creation itself. Energy readings are spiking, Yuki reported, her fingers dancing across her console. Whatever's powering this thing, it's reactive to our presence. It knows we're here. Knows or senses? Park asked, does it matter? Yuki shot back. Either way, we're being noticed. 60 seconds, Elena's heart hammered against her ribs. Around her, she could hear the others breathing. Quick, shallow, scared. They were the best humanity could offer. The smartest, bravest, most capable representatives of a species that had clawed its way from caves to spaceships through sheer stubborn will, and right now they were all terrified. Listen up. Park's voice cut through the tension. Whatever happens on the other side, we stay together. We observe, we record. We do not engage unless engaged. Our mission is peaceful contact and information gathering. That's it, clear? A chorus of acknowledgments rippled through the crew. 30 seconds. The rift grew closer, larger, consuming the viewport until there was nothing else. Elena could see the membrane between realities now, translucent, shimmering like the surface of a soap bubble stretched across infinity. Through it, distorted and dreamlike, she could see hints of that alien sky, those impossible structures, that world that shouldn't exist but did. Here we go, Morrison whispered. The shuttle touched the membrane. For a moment, just a heartbeat, there was resistance, as if reality itself was trying to decide whether to let them pass. Elena felt her stomach drop, her vision blur, every cell in her body screaming that they were going somewhere they weren't meant to go, crossing a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Then they were through. The transition was like being born. The shuttle lurched, systems flickering as they adapted to new physical laws. Warning lights flashed across consoles. Someone gasped. Someone else laughed, high and slightly hysterical. But then the system stabilized. The lights returned to normal. And through the viewport, oh my God, Marcus breathed. The alien world spread before them in all its impossible glory. The purple sky was even more vivid from this side, threaded with those rivers of light that seemed to pulse with gentle rhythm, like the heartbeat of the universe itself. The crystalline structures rose around them, their surfaces reflecting and refracting light in ways that created rainbows in geometries that shouldn't exist. And everywhere, floating through the air like dandelion seeds, were small points of light. Not stars, not insects, something else entirely. Motes of luminescence that drifted with apparent purpose, gathering in clusters, dispersing, reforming. Atmosphere is breathable, Yuki reported, her voice tinged with wonder. Oxygen-nitrogen ratio similar to Earth, but with trace elements I don't recognize. Gravity is slightly lower. Temperature is... She paused, checking her readings again. Temperature is exactly 72 degrees Fahrenheit everywhere, no variation. That's not possible, Marcus said. Weather patterns, thermal dynamics, there should be temperature gradients. Maybe their physics work differently, Elena suggested. Or maybe someone's controlling it. The shuttle descended slowly, carefully, toward a plateau of that silver grass. As they approached, the grass seemed to part, creating a natural landing zone exactly the size they needed. Morrison exchanged a glance with Park. They're definitely watching us, she said. They've been watching us for 72 hours, Park replied. Now we get to return the favor. The landing was smooth. For a moment, no one moved. They sat in the shuttle, staring out at this alien world, breathing its alien air through their ship's filtration systems, knowing that the next step, the actual physical step onto that silver ground, would change everything. Elena unbuckled her harness first. Dr. Vasquez, Park began. Someone has to go first, Elena said. Might as well be me. I'm already having an existential crisis. Can't get much worse. She moved to the airlock before anyone could stop her, her suit's helmet sealed with a soft hiss. The outer door opened and the alien world's atmosphere rushed in, bringing with it a scent like rain and ozone and something else. Something that had no Earth equivalent. Elena descended the ramp. The silver grass compressed beneath her boots with a sound like wind chimes. The moment her full weight settled on this new world, everything changed. The floating lights converged, forming a sphere of luminescence 20 feet in front of her. The sphere grew, expanded, took shape. And suddenly, standing before Elena Vasquez, representative of Earth and all humanity, was one of them. The being was taller than any human, its translucent form glowing with internal light. The patterns beneath its surface shifted rapidly. What Elena's intuition told her were emotions, thoughts, perhaps language itself made visible. Where its face should be, the light coalesced into something that might have been eyes, vast, deep, ancient. Behind Elena, she heard her crewmates emerging from the shuttle, heard their gasps of awe and fear. But she couldn't look away from this being, this first ambassador from a universe beyond human understanding. The being raised what might have been a hand. The gesture was slow, deliberate, non-threatening, and when it spoke, the words bypassed Elena's ears entirely, resonating directly in her mind in a voice like music. You came. We hoped you would. We have been alone for so long. Elena's eyes filled with tears, because in that moment she understood something fundamental. They hadn't come to meet an enemy or even a stranger. They'd come to meet the other, half of a conversation the universe had been trying to have for billions of years. The question wasn't whether humanity would survive first contact. The question was what both species would become together.